Odds are, if you're here right now, that it means you're either looking for your next dream home or you're just interested in how the negotiation process works for real estate. So I'm going to try to divide this up in two parts: negotiations that take place before you go under contract and negotiations that take place after you go under contract. So before we dive too deep into it, we're going to be talking about the due diligence period. So I want to explain what that is, just in case someone may not know what it is. But typically it's a 2-week period where the buyer has time to get inspection done, get contractors out there, and really just decide if they want to move forward with the home buying process. It's your time to back out of the deal if you are going to back out. And at the end of this period, if you back out for any reason, you will lose your due diligence money, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. So, negotiations that take place before going under contract. How would you go about trying to reduce the purchase price of the home you're looking at? Whether you're an investor or you're looking for your dream home. First thing you're gonna do, your buyer's agent is going to pull up comps. So, your buyer's agent will pull up comps of similar homes in the area to the house that you're looking at. You'll be able to determine from that if the house is valued at the correct price. If it's not, you'll be able to work with your buyer's agent and say, hey, I think that it would be fair if, let's say, instead of a $300,000 house, given the other homes in the area that are move-in ready where your home is not, I'd say it's probably worth about $295,000. So that's like an example of a pre-contract negotiation. Two things that I want to point out here: due diligence money and earnest money. These are things that will make your offer more attractive. Why would it make your offer more attractive? The more due diligence money you put down, it's almost an indication of your commitment to the deal. So any money that you're putting down for due diligence, if the due diligence period ends, the 2-week period that we just talked about a second ago, if it ends and you don't back out, anytime after that, if you have second thoughts and decide to, say you don't want to move forward, you lose your due diligence money. So that's why it's attractive for sellers if the buyer puts down more due diligence money up front. So that's something you would include in your offer letter to the seller's agent. So 2 main things: before going under contract, you're looking at the comps, you're saying, hey, is this house worth what they're listing it for? If not, you can ask for a reduction in sales price. Also, to get your offer more attractive, you'll want to essentially increase your due diligence money and earnest money on your offer letter to make it more attractive and more likely to be accepted. Now, once your offer to purchase contract is accepted by the sellers, then you're going to do a few things. You're going to get a home inspector out there. You have to have an inspection report. You're going to get contractors out there. You're going to get contractors out there because once your home inspector sends you back the home inspection report, you're going to get a list of things that need to be repaired. You're going to get HVAC, plumbing, electrical. It could be windows. It could be siding, trim, flooring. The list goes on and on. Once you get quotes back from these contractors, you'll go to the seller agent and say, hey, here's a list of all the repairs that need to be done on your home. It costs way more than what I expected the repair list to come out to be. So with that being said, I'd like to request credits toward the repairs. This whole process that you're going through would be called a repair request. So the buyer side would send a repair request to the seller side. The sellers don't have to agree on this. You can negotiate on the amount of credit for repairs, which is what I did in the current home that I'm under contract with. Another thing is appraiser. So this is all during your due diligence period. Home inspector, contractors, and appraisal is all during your due diligence period. And you need to get this done as quick as possible before your due diligence period ends. Because if you don't, then the sellers will likely just take your due diligence money and say, nah, I don't want to move forward, and maybe they'll put the home back on the market and you'll lose the house. You don't want to do that. Get this done all within your due diligence period. Very important. With the appraiser, the buyer is the one who pays for the appraiser. So when the appraisal comes back, the buyer side, you do not have to tell the sellers what the home appraised for. That's your information, and they have to get your okay to view it. I would say never tell the sellers what the home appraised for. Because, for example, if you're buying a home at $295, like we said, and the house appraised for $295, why would they give you any money toward repairs? They shouldn't. They wouldn't. So don't ever tell them what the home appraised for. The best thing to do would be, hey, this is the amount that's needed for repairs. And also, as you know, any appraisal gap that is evident, I would have to cover, the buyer would have to cover anyway. So that's not to say that there is an appraisal gap. That's just to say that if there was one, I have to pay for it. So please help me out for the repairs, essentially. And to explain what an appraisal gap is, if the home is listed at $300,000 and you're under contract for $300,000, and the appraisal comes back to say, hey, the house is actually only worth $295,000, the appraisal gap is $5,000. So that's what you would have to cover. The reason you have to cover the appraisal gap is because your lender will not give you a loan on the home if it appraises for less than what you're under contract for. So you have to make up the difference. That's what an appraisal gap is. So basically, just to summarize here, before going under contract, you want to run your comps. You want to say, hey, what is the home worth? Note it down. Say, hey, given what the home is worth, here's what we're going to offer the seller. Here's the amount of due diligence and earnest money we're willing to put down to show dedication toward the deal. And then once you get your offer accepted, you'll get your home inspector out there ASAP, contractor out there ASAP, appraiser out there ASAP, because you need to get all this done within 2 weeks before your due diligence ends so that you don't lose your due diligence money. So with all of that being said, there's multiple ways you can reduce the price that you're paying for your house even after you're going under contract. If this was helpful at all, then please drop a like and leave a comment. If you have any questions, I can go into a lot more detail on some of the stuff that I mentioned in the video. So just leave a comment down below and I'll take a look at it.